So welcome to Brighter Horizons podcast. We're going to, this week, just drop straight into another product that comes off the back of solar screens that we talked about last week.
No vocal coaching this week or anything?
No. We also offer adhesive films that fit directly to glass of ship windows.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a contrast to the wheelhouse blinds that we talked about last week. But before we kick off, I just want to sort of give an update on the business. We're dead excited. We're actually getting involved in training now for the big dragon boat race. And me and yourself are taking part in that, aren't we?
Yeah. Sort of Tynesyde's equivalent to the Oxford-Cambridge rowing event.
So in October, we're going to be doing a podcast about the dragon boat race. We've actually got together 15 people now. The training hasn't actually kicked off, so I'm a little bit worried about that. But we're going to be doing lots of training beforehand. I think the majority of everybody on board the dragon boat are pretty fit to begin with, would you say? You don't know half of them, do you?
I'm going to hope yes.
Yeah. So we're dead excited about getting involved in that. But that's going to be taking part in September. And then we're hoping to have a podcast where we've got everybody together to talk about it. So I think that'll be quite
hopefully bring
fun.
the boat as well, maybe.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll finish in a good position. We're going in there positive, but you never know. We might come last, but I hope not. So we're going to be training for that coming up. So that's something new and exciting for the business. So yeah, I'm excited, and I think you're looking forward to it.
I am. I mean, I've only tried rowing once before at uni. I got sent home from it because I dressed completely inappropriately for Aberdeen in December. So I was wearing like a vest and t-shirt, shorts like you'd see in the Olympics, and they were just like, "You're not going." So it'd be good to pick up from where that failure was and take it from there.
I might use the trusty AI to kind of give us some pointers as to what we need to
wellies and
sort
thermals.
of wear and what have you. Hopefully, with it being in September, end of September, it'll be nice and warm.
Yeah.
But, who knows? So that's a bit of news that we're happy to share with everybody. But back to this week, we're going to be talking about solar film. Do you want to sort of give a little bit of an introduction to that?
Yeah. So adhesive solar film. We do different types of adhesive film, but for now we'll focus on adhesive solar. Adhesive solar film is a permanently affixed adhesive solar film to a window. It's permanently fixed to the window. That means it's there for the duration of the product's lifestyle. Differs from solar screens in that a solar screen's retractable, whereas this is permanently affixed to the window. And that does come with some regulatory sort of differences. So, for instance, you couldn't have this adhesive film affixed to navigable windows in the wheelhouse because under the SOLAS regs, it's not allowed.
Explain that a bit more. Then what would happen if when it gets dark outside or the weather's really bad?
So once it gets dark outside, your visibility is impaired because of the tinting of the film. It makes it more difficult to see through, particularly in dark conditions. You can still see through it, but it does make visibility that bit more difficult, which comes with a restriction to seafarers under the navigable rules, because they want you to be able to have the best possible view in the circumstances.
So on a wheelhouse bridge, it's got to have a retractable film, hasn't it? Because
exactly.
You've got to retract it away to give the best visibility possible during conditions that are not perfect.
Yeah, so under the SOLAS Chapter 5, Regulation 22, off the top of my head, that's what the regulation says. Solar screens are permittable, but they must be retractable. Cannot have it fully.
So where would you actually fit this film then?
So it's kind of up to, it can go anywhere. For cruise ships, you see it on passenger areas, crew cabins, passenger cabins. You see it quite a lot in areas like restaurants on cruise ships as well, because you have the basic property of this film is what it's designed to do is reduce UV glare and heat energy coming through the windows in the same way a solar screen would work. With it being permanently affixed to a window, though, it does have the property that it's constantly doing that. But these areas still get really hot, particularly a restaurant where you've not only got to contend with the heat energy from the sun coming through the window, but you've also got to contend with the area itself. It's a giant kitchen, right? So there's loads of heat energy. So anything to make it more comfortable for passengers on board, the better. So passengers
expect clear visibility, don't they? And
exactly.
I think that's the thing you've got to consider as a ship manager, ship owner,
Yeah.
or a designer of one of these big cruise ships.
Part of the reason you go on a cruise is to enjoy that sort of stereotypical view of the sun setting on the Med or the Caribbean or something.
Yeah,
and
if you had the
cruise
blinds
along.
down, blackout blinds, dim-out blinds, it's quite a grim experience, isn't it? So the film works.
Absolutely. So
works
yeah.
for the-
Yeah, absolutely. So the film has that benefit. It also, so we do two types of film. There's the neutral grey, and then there's one called reflective silver. Reflective silver in its highest strength, which is 20. I have actually seen being used in areas that require some element of privacy, because when it's installed on the outside looking in, it's sort of like a mirror effect. So we've actually put it in areas like on cruise ship area banks and sort of areas where like bursars would be, where money's involved, things like that. Also, you sometimes have seen them being put on the doors of the wheelhouse, or basically areas where the public can see them but are not navigable, so that it
It
offers
gives
that
a bit of
element
privacy, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Especially to the bridge area for non-navigational windows.
Exactly.
Yeah, it can act as a one-way film. Now,
Mm-hmm.
one-way film is one of them things that, depending on the light conditions on one of the sides, so or the inside of the vessel, the outside, depending on what the conditions are there, can determine who can see in and who can't.
Yeah.
So it changes throughout the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So it offers that element of that to it. Other areas moving away from sort of cruise ship elements, sometimes you see on particularly like workboats, like tugboats or anything where it's got roof windows that are sort of normally the most curious shapes you'll ever see. We often recommend using an adhesive film for that, because they're not deemed navigable, and it's just much nicer fit.
Yeah,
to get
it's an
adhesive film.
alternative to blinds and curtains.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you've got really awkward windows on tugboats, for instance, having loads of mechanisms and different blinds and cassettes up above
Yeah.
can look quite like untidy, can't
Quite frankly, uncontrollable.
And
sometimes,
really
'cause
difficult
you've got
to operate.
several pulleys at once going on. It's sort of
Yeah.
it's much tidier finish just to have a bit of adhesive
to have
film to cover
the
it.
blinds on the main windows and then the roof blinds to have a film.
Yeah.
Can you explain the different shades of film that we offer?
Yeah. So there's two colours: neutral grey, as mentioned, and reflective silver. And then under each one of those, there's three different shading strengths. So you have 20, which is sort of the darkest, or if it's silver, the most reflective. And then 35, which is sort of your mid-range, and then 50, which is sort of the lightest or the least reflective, if you're talking about the silver.
So we as a company will advise our clients on which one would be best, and the way that we kind of determine that is we find out where the vessel's operating.
What you're looking for, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the temperatures that the vessel's constantly exposed to, that makes a huge difference. So we can offer guidance on that. If you're a little bit unsure about it, we always sort of say, right, go for the mid-range.
Yeah, 35 is normally your kind of go-to if you're relatively unsure. And to be fair, we can also send samples for you to kind of sign off yourself. You can get samples of the film.
The alternative as well is that if a window is particularly allows a lot of heat through, you can have film and a blind on at the same time, can't you? So you can get double the protection from the sun, because there's a lot of vessels that we deal with where they get a lot of sunlight into particular areas, and they struggle to combat that, don't they?
Exactly. And going back to sort of cruise and ferries and sort of things like that, some of these vessels now, they kind of have effectively like giant, almost like conservatory style roofs, and getting shading onto that is quite a difficult sort of thing to kind of do. So the film offers a very unique sort of benefit there, that it offers the best possible protection from the sun without having to sort of work out.
It's a real cost-effective alternative as well, isn't it? So if you've got, for instance, a cruise ship's a typical example, where you have hundreds, if not thousands, of windows, and you have to put blinds and curtains, and I'm not downselling blinds and curtains, because that's what we do, but if you've got a lot of windows and your budget's, you can't stretch it to have blinds on every single window, the film is a great alternative.
Yeah, and also the other bit as well is for certain areas like passenger areas and stuff, areas where blinds may necessarily be needed, but because the film's permanently affixed to the glass, it can't really be tampered with, where sometimes you can have passengers sort of playing with mechanisms and damaging blinds and stuff, so it offers that sort of element of bypassing that particular...
Like atriums when you come
exactly.
into
Corridors,
big ferries and
atriums,
stuff,
any sort of area that's public, like restaurants, casinos, any sort of area like that, so yeah.
Yeah. So we supply the film in lots of different ways, don't we? So we can supply it on the roll, we can supply it as cut pieces,
Or we can install,
or we can install, or we can cut it to the exact shape and size, which we don't tend to recommend because of the delicacy
Normally
of the
overcut it by about sort of 20 mil normally, and then you kind of trim it down on site just so it perfectly matches that window.
Fitting the film is an absolute art, isn't it? It's a skill.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people go in with the opinion that it's going to be very easy. They'll try it themselves, and sometimes people are successful if they've had experience before. But a lot of the time, we do recommend getting some kind of training or watching some of our videos to kind of understand the sort of pitfalls that come with it. It's about getting the film installed at the right time of day when it's not too hot.
Well, you have to do it in daylight.
Yeah.
You can't do it. I mean, basically, anyone who's ever had to install a safety protector to an iPhone, it's sort of this on steroids, right?
Yeah,
If you don't like doing this, go over our install service, because like it's this on absolute sort of megabucks, right?
I've seen some horrendous jobs when we've been out there where people have attempted to put film on, and it may look okay to begin with, but once it starts to dry out, they haven't cleaned the windows properly, there's debris behind the film, it just bubbles, it looks horrendous, doesn't it?
There's literally an element of how you do this. So the first thing you have to do is, first of all, make sure there's no pre-installed film on windows, which 9 times out of 10 there's not, but best to make sure. Then you have to clean off the window, make sure it's perfectly clean. And then the film itself uses a water-based adhesive to bond to the window. Now, sometimes that can also, once the film's installed to the window, lead to things like air bubbles and water pockets, or what we call pooling, occurring around there. Typically, sometimes things like water pooling is relatively natural to occur to the window, and basically what we would normally recommend is sort of, depending on the conditions the vessel is operating in, allow for about 90 days for it to set properly, and basically it evaporates.
And don't pop the bubbles with a pin.
Absolutely not.
Yeah?
No, absolutely not, no. But sometimes when you've had a, how should we say, non-professional installation, these can sort of, they can be a bit larger and more problematic than...
I'll give you an example of one that I saw, and I won't give away the brand, but it was a train that I was on, and I saw that they'd had some kind of safety film, or it could have been slightly tinted where they'd had the film fitted. And it was a terrible job, and I think because we're in the industry as well, you notice it more.
Yeah.
The edging wasn't cut very straight. There was a lot of bubble, and there was loads of debris. So they hadn't cleaned the windows beforehand, so there was lots of rubbish behind, and it was stuck in the film. And, you know, when you're on one of these trains that takes you throughout the UK, you expect it to be a good quality, don't you? And I think it looked really naff on the window. And I think what we tend to do is whenever we're doing an installation ourselves, we do a lot of preparation work, don't we, before we even attempt to fit the film onto the glass.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of the install, the product can either be installed as a vessel's in service or when a vessel's in dry dock. That one, I would ask people to go back to the installations podcast to take a look at, but it depends on the size of the install what we'd recommend for how you would do it. But
so the installation is really important. We've got guys trained that have been doing this for years and years. They're absolute masters of the art now, and they can fit it. And if any of our sort of clients do have any concerns about fitting film, then we would recommend that we get one of our guys out every time. They know exactly what they're doing. A lot of the times, if it's a bigger project as well, we'll just take all the kit on board. So we'll take the cutting machines, we'll take all of the boxes, we'll set everything up. We'll have a chain of a production line where we've got guys fitting, guys preparing the glass, them just working in unison to get it done. We can fit a lot of windows in quite a short space of time.
You just get the production line going. One cleans, one cuts, one installs, and it just moves and moves and moves down the vessel. However many windows.
We're at the point where the guys are so good that they can cut straight edges without too much concern, and it looks great against the glass. So when it comes to the inspection side at the end of a project being fitted, 9 times out of 10, people are very happy. There's always going to be bubbling and stuff that occurs, but
it's a natural part of the bonding process. That's why we always recommend sort of the 90-day period. Pooling is it's a water-based adhesive, and water's a liquid, so it moves into where it wants. That's how liquid functions, right? So we always just recommend that 90-day period, and 9 times out of 10 it will be gone. There can be some times where it might be there, but we'll come out and get it resolved, or worst case, put a new piece of film on.
So we've talked about where it's suitable for. We fit it onto roof windows on occasions. We'll fit it onto door windows, which is great because if the door's opening and closing all the time, it's better to have something that's not going to blow off in the wind or get damaged. We fit it onto passenger areas. We fit it
Portholes as well,
cabins.
because it can be the good thing about it
Portholes
as well.
where you can't get a blind that fits
yeah,
onto that.
because it's a circle, right? It can be curved, and also we do radius cuts as well for shaped edges. So
Yep, and we fit it onto hatches. We also fit it onto some windows where they might be very awkwardly shaped, where they'll have a combination of a blind and a little bit of film. It's all right to put film on if it's not taking up the full pane of the glass, and that works sometimes as well. So it means that you've got full coverage of from glare and heat reduction. So that's good. All of our films are on site, so we can dispatch very quickly.
And the other crucial bit is they are both type approved.
Type approved, yes.
They both come with a Lloyd's type approval.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of money on getting our films approved, haven't we? So we're one of a very few amount of companies that actually do this. And type approval is very important because it means that it's been tested for maritime conditions to make sure that it's suitable, which they are. So the films that we're putting out into the industry are going to be suitable for the windows and last for a long period of time.
Well, they pass all of Lloyd's safety checks, which is what it is. There's each film has its own certificate, and it comes with a full sign-off from Lloyd's that this product's absolutely perfect for use on marine vessels.
Yep, that's really important to us as a company as well, isn't it? That we get approvals on all of our products, and we're working on that on some of the products we don't have at the moment. So
it's that extra peace of mind as well.
We're committed to that. It's one of our sort of core sort of values as well. So everything we do, and I said this in previous podcasts, we're 100% maritime, and that's all we care about is looking after the maritime industry. So this product could be seen as a product that protects crew and passengers. Would you agree?
Yep, from UV and glare, certainly, yep.
Yep. And UV and glare is very dangerous, especially for mariners that are at sea for a long period of time. I was talking to one of the guys from the Port of Blythe the other day, and he was saying that his eyes are suffering because he worked at sea for a long time. And when you're staring out the glass and the sun's directly hitting your eyes, it can cause, without even realising over a period of time, damage to the eye. And the film protects passengers whilst they're on the ship. You probably wouldn't even notice that it's damaging your eyes, would you? You would think, oh, well, it's glass. But it's the same as when you're out on holiday. They always say wear your sunglasses at all times.
Yeah, and by the time you know it's
rays, isn't it?
By the time you know it's too late. The thing with the sea is everything's a reflective surface.
Yeah.
The sea itself is a reflective surface, so it's got all
360 degrees of windows coming at you from the
sea
cruise ship, isn't
and
it?
the sky and everything coming at you. So yeah, it's definitely a needed product to help people and improve the conditions for crew and passengers on board. Absolutely.
So for us, it's another great product. It's one of our core products in the business. We use it alongside our blinds, and it works really well. We fit it onto ferries, cruise ships. We fit it onto military craft. You name it, anything
Cranes,
that's working in
marine cranes. It's got a good purpose there because there's obviously such a confined environment for space that sometimes films kind of the ultimate.
Definitely for the roof windows and for the doors. For the main windows on the crane, it would be more of a retractable
solar screen
solution,
or a dim out blind or something like that. But yeah.
So yeah, it's a great product. It's something we're very proud of. We also offer installation kits for anybody that wants to fit it themselves. We'll give advice. We'll give support throughout. And that is preferred by quite a lot of our customers. They like to fit it themselves. A lot of them have been doing it for a long time, so they're fully aware of the pitfalls that come with it. But we also offer some kind of training as well if somebody desperately needs that.
Yeah.
But our guys, like I say, I'll reiterate it again, they do it day in, day out. So if there's a big project, we do recommend our guys come out and fit it. They'll travel internationally, UK based as well. We've got guys all over the place that can do it, haven't we? So
yeah, I mean, we can do, as we say, we get a production line going, so we can race through windows. We can do easily like 400 windows or something in the space of like a 7-10 day period or something like that. Get things done like that. With the film, it comes on rolls that are either 1200 mil width, 1500 mil width, or 1800 mil width. So that does come with the parameters that if you do have, on the off chance you have a window that is bigger than, say, a width and a drop of about 2 meters each, there probably is going to be an element that we're going to have to make the film have what would appear to be like a seam or a joint. That's just unavoidable because of the shape of it. But what we always do is we make sure this is well out of eye line, and sort of that you won't see it, like take a hummingbird to notice kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, ship windows can be huge, can't they?
They
But,
can
I mean,
be. I
the
mean,
seam, if it's done well during installation, it's very, very hard to see it.
Exactly. You wouldn't be noticing it. So yeah.
Okay, so solar film gives a tint to the window, doesn't it? So it doesn't hinder visibility in any way, does it? It still allows you to see out perfectly during daytime hours. It has a very slight tint, even regarding whichever colour you go for. The reflective side tends to be on the outside, so you would never see that.
Yeah, exactly.
To the person inside the vessel, it would look like a very, very light grey, or very sometimes blue because of the
bluey
reflection
for
from the
reflective
sea.
silver, and then it's
We do get asked a lot of the time for blue film from people that have seen it on ships, and it's not actually blue.
It's reflective
People, it's a
silver.
total misconception. It's the colour of the sky and the sea reflecting off it. So we often have to sort of educate people that the blue isn't what they're looking for. It's actually the grey, a very light grey, which can change depending on the sort of exposure of the sun on that particular day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, great product to talk about today. That was it was good to discuss it, and I hope those listening have learned a little bit more about the product itself. Thank you for tuning in this week, and if you want to follow the podcast Brighter Horizons, we're on YouTube and we're also on the socials. Thanks for tuning in.